The Center for the National Interest held an event discussing the threat and possible actions by North Korea on the eve of the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea. "We are closer to potential conflict on the Korean Peninsula than we've been since 1994, said Bruce Klingner of the Heritage Foundation, adding that this was due to North Korea's growing missile capabilities and military and sanctions options that are being discussed by the Trump administration. It was with this thought-provoking pronouncement that Klingner began his opening remarks at an event held on Tuesday at the Center for the National Interest. On the eve of the 2018 Winter Olympics hosted by South Korea, the mood on the Korean Peninsula remains tense, with U.S. officials weighing the possibility of launching a preemptive strike against the Hermit Kingdom. It was in this context that the Center for the National Interest gathered international policy specialists, military experts, and journalists to discuss the situation and consider the questions that would matter moving forward. Will there be North Korean provocations, or even bolder actions, during the Games? How did the United States and North Korea get to this point? And what strategy should Washington employ moving forward? Speaking before the gathered guests were Bruce Klingner, a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation and 20-year veteran of the CIA and DIA, and Lieutenant Gen. USMC. Brett Wallace C. Gregson, the senior director of the Center for the National Interest China and the Pacific Program and a former commander of the U.S. Marine Corps Forces in the Pacific. They spoke about the current state of tensions between North Korea and the United States, South Korea, North Korea's missile capabilities, and what steps the United States should take in confronting Pyongyang. Harry Kazaranis, executive editor of the National Interest and director of defense studies at the Center for the National Interest, moderated. Continuing his opening remarks, Klingner spoke of Pyongyang's growing missile capabilities, clarifying that some of the launches seen have been actual missile development tests while others are war plan exercises. Taken together, North Korea has the ability to hit all of South Korea and Japan today with nuclear weapons, and the country is continuing to work on missiles that could reach the continental United States and its island territories. Klingner noted that the United States has a tendency to downplay North Korean capabilities, until reality becomes quickly apparent. He believes that the regime is close to achieving ICBM capability. This sense of a rapidly impending new reality is what has pushed the Trump administration to consider preemptive action against North Korea, which Klingner describes as having sucked the air out of the room for Koreans last year. Gregson painted a dire portrait of the North Korean regime, emphasizing that it is at bottom a gangster state. It is a global criminal enterprise run by the family at the center of the enterprise, that will in all likelihood seek to resume nuclear blackmail once the Olympics end. He stated up front that the initiative rests with Kim Jong-un, and that the North Korean regime's goal remains the unification of the Korean Peninsula under the North's terms. Citing a recent poll from the Pew Research Center, Gregson argued that North Korea has political and diplomatic avenues of attack because less than 20% of South Koreans have confidence that President Trump will do the right thing in world affairs. He lamented that the United States has broken international agreements in the past year, and has unsettled close allies. He also indicated that the Trump administration has unnecessarily elevated the North Korean dictator by directly assailing him in personal terms. "He's one guy. We're bigger than that. We don't deal with tin-pot dictators on a personal level," stating that diplomacy alone will not resolve the situation with North Korea, and that some risk is necessary. Gregson listed the elements of a strategy that could be deployed against Kim Jong-un's regime. These include efforts to enhance and expand the financial sanctions, both primary and secondary, conduct maritime interdiction operations against ships that we are already tracking, increase the capabilities of our two most directly affected allies, particularly in regards to missile and air defense, keeping China notified of all actions being undertaken while making it about our national interests, not their interest, repairing relations with South Korea, eliminate ammunition, training, and readiness shortfalls in our forces at Westpac, update counter-provocation strategies with South Korea, and increase diplomatic, economic, military, intelligence, and law enforcement pressure to deter other states from tolerating North Korean criminal operations. Pages